Hello Tweedledees and Tweedledudes! Miss Norris here again to talk to you today about customary units of measurement. So, grab a parent, grab a snack, and let's get started. The topics we're going to discuss in this episode are how you can use benchmarks to understand the relative sizes of measurement units, and the customary units of length, liquid volume, and weight. All right. Are we all in agreement that we are going to use the metric system for measurement? All in favor, say aye.
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 Oi.
What? Oh, no, that's not gonna work for us. America, why not? Everyone else here loves the metric system. It's easy. It's made up of multiples of 10. We really think we need to be on the same page here. There's just no reason for your citizens to have to learn two measurement systems. They'll be all right. I'm not saying that is how the measurement debate went down. But I'm also not saying that isn't how it happened either. The United States, Liberia, and Myanmar are the only three nations in the world who have not adopted the metric system as their official unit of measurement. Instead, the US uses a strange mixture of customary and metric units of measure, depending on what you need to measure and why you need to measure it. For example, if you want to throw a party and you need to go buy some soft drinks, you're using customary units. But need to take medicine for a stomach ache you're gonna have later for all those soft drinks you drink, you're gonna need to use the metric system. Does it make sense for the US to pick and choose what measurements they want to use depending on the reason?
No, it does not.
Does that change the fact that you're going to have to learn both?
No, it does not.
So there's no use in
Grumbling and griping about it.
Let's get into it. Let's start with customary units of length. We are going to talk about the 4 units of length that we use most often when measuring the length of objects or distances. The inch, abbreviated IN, the foot, abbreviated FT, the yard, abbreviated YD, and the mile, which is abbreviated with MI. So what do we normally measure in inches? Babies, nails, pizzas, and TVs. The ruler is the best tool to use when measuring in inches.
Miss Norris, what if we don't have a ruler?
You can use what we call a benchmark.
A what?
A benchmark. It's just a unit of measure that's close but not exactly what we want to measure in. Some measurement benchmarks that are similar or close to an inch are the top joint of your thumb, a standard paper clip, or a quarter. This baby is 21 inches long. Aww. Or if we didn't have a ruler but a bowl full of paper clips, we could say this baby is about 21 paper clips long. What do we normally measure in feet? Non-baby humans, basketball goals, rooms, and social distancing.
6 feet apart.
Sorry, 6 feet apart. Back up. When measuring in feet, it's best to use a yardstick or tape measurer.
Well, what if you don't have either of those?
Some measurement benchmarks that are similar or close to a foot are a license plate, a football,
Or a $5 foot long.
so this basketball goal measures at 10 feet high, or about 10 sub sandwiches high.
Delicious.
So what do we normally measure in yards? Football fields, fabric, and anything longer than 3 feet or less than a mile. When measuring in yards, it's best to stick with the yardstick or the tape measure that we used before. If you don't have a measurement tool, some benchmarks that are close to 1 yard are a baseball bat, a bike, or a kindergartner. So we could say that this football field measures at 120 yards long. Or we could say it's about 120 kindergartners long. So what do we measure in miles? Whew. Sorry, bad memories from elementary school. The mile is a unit of measure that we use when we need to measure really long distances. We usually use this unit when we describe the length we travel when biking, jogging, or driving from one place to another. There isn't really a tool that we can carry around to help us measure in miles, but since 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards or 5,280 feet, if you didn't have anything better to do, I guess you could measure a mile using a ruler or a yardstick, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Are there benchmarks for measuring in miles?
Yes! Well, kind of. It's a little different than the other benchmarks we talked about though. Generally, when we've walked 20 minutes, we know that we've traveled about 1 mile. Or if you wanted to measure a mile like a Roman soldier, you could march
Left, right.
1,000 times. The point is, it's a really long measurement. So you could travel the estimated 2,789 miles from Los Angeles to New York by plane, which would take you about 4.5 hours. Or if you went by car, it would take you about 41 hours. By bike, it would take you about 246 hours. Or if you're in for a real challenge, if you wanted to walk, it would take you about 912 hours. Now let's talk about customary units of weight. We are going to talk about the 3 units of weight that we use most often when measuring the weight or mass of a solid object, or how heavy something is. The ounce, abbreviated as OZ, the pound, abbreviated LB, no, I cannot explain why, yes, I think it's weird, and ton, which is abbreviated with a capital T. What do we usually measure in ounces? Steak, deodorant, canned tuna, and tiny animals. A scale or a balance are the best tools to use when measuring in ounces. Some measurement benchmarks that are close to an ounce are a slice of bread, a pencil, a AA battery, or 10 pennies. So the weight of this 6-ounce bag of dog treats is about the same weight as 6 pencils. What do we measure in pounds? People, pet food, dumbbells, and medium to large sized animals. A scale or balance is still your best tool when measuring or weighing things in pounds. Some measurement benchmarks that are close to a pound are a block of butter, a dinner plate, a football, or a loaf of bread. So the weight of this 120-pound woman is about the same weight as 120 blocks of butter. What do we normally measure in
Tons.
the big stuff? I mean like real big. A ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. Here is a list of things that are worthy of being measured in tons.
A horse trotting in at 1 ton, or about 2,200 pounds.
Wow!
The African bush elephant rolling in at 6.5 tons, or 13,000 pounds.
Oh my!
And the blue whale coming in at a whopping 165 tons, or 330,000 pounds.
Whoa.
Sometimes an object or an animal is just so heavy that while we can weigh it in pounds, it's easier to weigh it in tons. That way, if we have to calculate the weight of multiple blue whales, we get to work with smaller numbers. The last category of customary units of measure that we're going to talk about today are units of liquid volume, or the space taken up by a liquid. We are going to talk about the 5 most common units of measure when measuring liquids. The fluid ounce, which has an abbreviation of FLOZ. FL for fluid, OZ for ounce. The cup, abbreviation C. The pint, that has an abbreviation of PT. The quart has an abbreviation of QT, and the gallon, that has an abbreviation of GAL. What do we normally measure in fluid ounces? Lotions, canned sodas, hand sanitizers, and perfume. Measuring spoons and measuring cups are your best tool when measuring in fluid ounces. A great benchmark that might help you understand how much 1 fluid ounce is this bottle of hand sanitizer. This is a 1 fluid ounce bottle of hand sanitizer. It's a really small amount of liquid. Since 1 fluid ounce of liquid is such a small amount, anytime you're buying a product, it's usually going to be made up of more than 1 fluid ounce of liquid. So the 12 ounces of Diet Coke in this can is about the same as the amount of liquid in 12 of these hand sanitizer bottles. The rest of the liquid volume amounts? it's gonna be easier to show you. Check this out. This is a tablespoon. If I were to fill up this tablespoon 2 times, it would be equal to 1 fluid ounce. This is 1 fluid ounce. If I put 8 fluid ounces in the same container, now it's a cup of water. This is 1 cup of water. If I were to put 2 of these cups in the same container, now it's a pint of water. This is 1 pint of water. If I put 2 pints of water in the same container, now it's a quart of water. This is 1 quart of water. What if I poured 4 quarts of water into the same container? Now it's a gallon of Kool-Aid. Yum. All of these amounts can be measured using measuring cups. The only difference is the larger the unit, the larger the container. When cooking or baking, you're gonna most often use cups or fractions of a cup when measuring liquid ingredients. You most often see pints in the ice cream aisle. This is my personal favorite size because I don't have to share. The refrigerated section of the grocery store where you find the milk is where you're most likely going to see how much a quart and a gallon are. Quarts are that smaller, more slender option if you're just kind of wanting to buy milk for yourself. Gallons are those big boys that you see when everyone in your house likes to eat Lucky Charms every day for breakfast. I think you guys have got it. I hope this introduction helped you guys get a better understanding of the customary units of measure. Join me on the next one when we learn more about the relationships between the units of measure and how we can convert one measure to another. Bye guys.